I was hearing a noise coming from a hut in the forest. I got closer, and an alien woman came out. I was hearing a noise coming from a hut in the forest. I got closer, and an alien woman came out. That should have been the beginning of a horror story, or at least something strange enough to make me run, but I did not. I stood there watching her as she stepped into the light, holding something like a stick, but glowing softly at the tips. She saw me and stopped, and for a long moment neither of us moved. The forest was quiet around us, thick trees holding their breath, the air still, as if it too wanted to see what would happen next. I had walked that trail so many times before never noticing the hut, never hearing anything from that part of the woods. But that day something called me and I followed. The hut was not old, but not new. It was made of wood, but the angles were strange, like someone built it without ever seeing a human house. The roof curved upward in a gentle slope, the windows were round, not square, and they gave off a faint shimmer, even though there was no light inside. The woman standing in front of it was unlike anyone I had seen. Her skin was pale, but with a slight silver tone that shimmered as she moved. Her hair was long and dark blue, falling over her shoulders like liquid midnight. Her eyes were the most striking part. They were too large for her face, but beautiful, glowing softly like lanterns in the dusk. She looked at me not with fear, but with the kind of curiosity I imagine I wore on my own face. "You're not supposed to be here," she said, her voice calm, not angry, just surprised. I did not know what to say. I looked around as if someone else might explain it better than I could. I heard something I said finally, and I followed it. I did not know there was a house here. She tilted her head, slightly studying me. "You are human," she said softly as if trying to convince herself. "That is what you call yourselves, yes." "Yes," I said. "And you are not, I guess." She nodded once slowly. "I am not." I should have been scared, but I was not. Maybe it was the way she spoke, or how her presence did not feel dangerous. Or maybe I was just too shocked to think properly. "Do you live here?" I asked. "I do," she said. "For now." "Why here?" "It is quiet. Hidden. I did not think any humans would find me here." "Sorry," I said. "I did not mean to interrupt or anything." She looked past me into the woods. "You were drawn by the signal." "Signal? The sound you heard. It was not meant for you." I frowned. "Then who was it meant for?" She hesitated. "Someone like me." "Are there more of you?" "Not anymore," she said. We stood in silence again. I could hear birds chirping high above and the faint rustle of wind through leaves. She looked at the stick in her hand, then back at me. "You should leave," she said, not unkindly. "This is not a place for humans." "But I already found it," I said, "and you did not try to hurt me, so maybe I could help." She raised an eyebrow. "Help with what?" "I do not know. Whatever it is you are doing out here. Maybe you need food or something. Maybe you are stuck." She turned then and walked back to the hut, leaving the door open behind her. I stood there unsure if I was being invited or dismissed. Then I stepped forward and followed. Inside, the hut was bigger than I expected. The walls curved gently, the ceiling arched high. There were strange symbols etched into it, glowing faintly. A small fire burned in the center, without smoke. Around were shelves filled with tools I did not recognize. She sat on a cushion near the fire, watching me. "You are brave," she said, "or foolish." "Maybe both," I said. "My name is Eli." She looked into the fire. "My name cannot be said in your language, but you may call me Ralen." "Ralen," I said, sitting across from her. "So what are you doing out here?" "Waiting," she said. "For what?" She did not answer right away. Then she said for my home to answer. I looked around. "This place is not your home." "It is not." "Are you stranded?" "You could say that." "Can I help?" She looked at me again, long and quiet. "Perhaps you can." That was how it began. The days that followed were strange. I came back the next morning, and again the next after that. She never told me to leave. Instead, she began to speak more, and I listened. She told me pieces of her story, not everything, but enough. She had crashed here many years ago. The signal she sent was meant to reach others of her kind. It never did. She built a hut from what survived the crash, using what she could find. She learned the trees, the animals, the weather. She survived. I brought her books and food. She was curious about everything. How we cooked, how we wrote, how we lived. In return, she taught me things I cannot even name. How to hear the rhythm of a forest, how to touch the air and know a storm is coming, how to sit so still the deer would walk past you thinking you were stone. One day, I found her outside, kneeling in the dirt, planting something. Her hands moved with care the same way a sculptor shapes stone. "What are you planting?" I asked. "Memory," she said. I did not understand. She smiled. "They are flowers from my world. They grow from memory. You must give them a piece of yours." "How?" She handed me one. It looked like a small crystal seed. "Think of something you remember deeply, and then press your finger to it." I thought of my mother. Her voice, singing when I was small, the warmth of her arms, the smell of the old kitchen. I pressed a memory into the seed. It glowed faintly, then dimmed. "Good," she said, and placed it into the soil. The next day, a tiny silver stem had grown. She told me her people once lived in vast cities not made of metal, but of light and stone. Their buildings grew like trees shaped by thought and memory. But a war came and scattered them. She never told me who they fought, only that it ended badly. Some days she was quiet, watching the sky. I knew she was listening for something that never came. "Do you miss them?" I asked once. "Every day," she said. "And if they do not come, then this will be the last place I ever see," she said simply. I felt something break in me when she said that. "What if I stayed?" I asked. "You are human," she said. "You cannot stay in one place forever." "Maybe I can." She looked at me then with those deep glowing eyes and said, "Nothing lasts, Eli." Winter came and she stayed warm by her fire. I brought her blankets and wood and food. We talked late into the night about stars and time and things I barely understood. She told me our worlds were not so different. People wanted the same things. Peace, connection, meaning. The memory flowers bloomed even in the snow. Tiny glowing buds reaching for the cold sky. One night, I asked her, what if someone else finds you? Then they will have to decide what kind of person they are, she said, just like you did. And if they are not like me, then I will face it. I touched her hand then. It was cool and soft. She did not pull away. The next day, she showed me something hidden beneath the floor, a small orb glowing faintly. This is my beacon, she said. It still works barely. It waits, just like me. How long has it waited? Too long, she said. And if it never gets answered, then I will remain. But you are not alone, I said. No, she said, looking at me. I am not. Spring came and with it more flowers. The forest changed. So did I. She laughed more now, a sound like chimes in the wind. I told her stories from my childhood. She told me dreams that made the stars seem small. We sat beneath the trees and watched light play across leaves. I built a bench outside the hut. We shared tea made from roots she had gathered. I no longer saw her as alien. She was Ralen. One evening as the sky turned orange, she said, you were not supposed to find me. And yet I did. Yes, she said. And for that I am grateful. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I did not move. If they never come, I asked, what will you do? She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, then I will stay here. With you. That summer the beacon faded. Its light went out. She buried it beneath the roots of a tree. I am done waiting, she said. You are going to leave. No, Eli. I am going to live. She took my hand, and together we walked back to the hut. And for the first time it felt like home.